Yeah, I want to make some content about real estate and Bitcoin. I was responding to Joel's thing about a loved one buying Bitcoin, and he was not buying Bitcoin, buying real estate. And he was like, "How do you convince them not to?" And it's been kind of kicking around in my head. I wrote a response. My response was not that articulate, and it wasn't that special, to be honest. But the more I think about it, the more I think it was right that I wanted to say something, and I do need to say something. And I think this might be like kind of where the crux of the issue is. It's not that Bitcoin, like I already think Bitcoin is better than real estate, and there's so many reasons for that, and I don't need to go into that. But that's like everybody I'm speaking to who's following him, I think you already think that, so that's not a big deal. But what I think maybe is a problem is just like kind of shitting on other assets. Listen to Jack Mahler's from Monday, and he's kind of saying like, if shit goes down in Iran and all this other shit, and it fucks up the legacy system, like a lot of Americans will suffer, and like nobody's rooting for that. Like you don't want people to suffer, right? You know, so I mean, you're hoping to do well and take care of yourself while the world does well, because if the world does poorly, basically that's when other bad shit happens. So you don't want the world to do poorly, you want the world to do well. But you know, you're meanwhile kind of screaming from the rooftops like, hey, we don't have sound money, the fiat system's fucked. But when it comes to real estate's trickier. And I've been in this business for a long time. I've been a real estate agent for like about a decade, and I've been investing in real estate for a while now. I ran a bar before. I mean, if you don't know my backstory, I ran a bar before. I made a lot of money doing that and didn't really know what to do with it. And we were very slow figuring out that we should invest some fucking money. So we burned some stupidly, and we thought about franchising. We decided not to. So we had like a couple like almosts before we did what we ended up doing and started this company investing in real estate. And it's been pretty good. It's been up and down, but it's been pretty good. So that's why when Bitcoiners shit on real estate, I don't really totally get it, because it's been very good to me. And I feel like the reason it's been good to me is that we figured out that you need to have assets when everything's going to shit, basically. Like we learned how to hedge the world falling apart. What was awesome is we started right in the middle of the subprime mortgage crisis. So we got to kind of run counter to the economy, which is really eye-opening. It was a really fucking interesting experience. And we ran really lean, and then when we started to make a lot of money, we were able to really hold on to it. So that taught me a few lessons. And the thing that I want to share with you is that real estate is not just one thing. And I think that's probably the hardest thing to wrap your fucking head around, because Bitcoin is one thing. It's one protocol, it's one system, it's one network, it's one timepiece, however you want to think of it. It's that thing. But real estate comes in many forms. Like, in other words, commercial real estate is very different than residential. Residential is very different, like blue collar, you know, bread and butter 3-2 kind of house, 3-bedroom 2-bath, that is, as opposed to like a luxury, you know, waterfront property on the ocean in Miami Beach, like, you know, a block in Manhattan. These are totally different price points. They're totally different animals. So when trying to answer, I think it's why I kind of like short circuit when I'm trying to answer, you know, by writing something that's 144 characters, it's just not enough, because it's just too many things. I'm trying to summarize, like I'm looking at a snowflake and trying to explain downhill slalom Olympic gold medal skiing. So it's too much. So that's what I want to understand, is like when speaking directly to you, like about your loved ones, like what are they doing? Like if they're buying luxury real estate in Miami Beach, I mean, they should fucking do it. That may be better than Bitcoin. I mean, it has its advantages, right? Because there's certain tax advantages as far as being able to refinance and pull out tax-free money and just being able to depreciate things. There are certain advantages to real estate. The government's very supportive of you buying real estate, especially in the US. I also don't know what country you're in. So that's one thing to consider. Like, is it luxury? Is it high stakes? Is it in the ghetto? Because ghetto real estate's a pain in the ass. You know, you can make a lot of money, but it's a ton of work. You know, and that's the other thing. Is like how much work, how much effort do you want to put into it? Because Bitcoin's different. Bitcoin, you just like set it and forget it. You know, you buy it and you put it in cold storage and you walk away from it. But if you're looking to be active, you know, like we run vacation rentals. Vacation rentals are super active. I spend hours a day working on them. I'm cleaning with my own hands all the time. I'm doing, you know, yard work and pool cleaning and all kinds of stuff, but it's worth it in my opinion, because that's where we make most of our money, and then we take that money and we move it into Bitcoin. So we turn it into something that allows us to have, you know, both volatility and stability. So like we kind of know what we're doing, but we've been in the lab experimenting with this for a long time. So I just want to kind of express that. I don't know if this is helpful at all, but I just kind of felt like if I didn't explain this, I was not doing anybody a service, because I feel like you guys are super thoughtful with me, and maybe because of my job, I just have a little bit of a different perspective here. Like, I just don't think shitting on real estate ever makes sense. I think there's, you know, houses, I'm not saying that people should be monetizing houses, which obviously we're so guilty of, but, you know, that said, is it a good investment? I mean, there's reasons why real estate has been monetized, and you know, if your loved one is looking at it, I would maybe look at their reasoning. And if you want to ask me questions, you know, DM me. I'm happy to answer. I've been doing this for a while, you know, and I know people who have been doing it for a while. I mean, I'm really lucky. I worked with a guy who ran one of the best businesses I've ever seen in my life. You know, he was a property manager and owned some of the properties and managed a bunch of the other properties, which is what I'm doing now. And it was pretty cool, and I got to see not just through him, I learned a lot through him, but I also got to see, like, for example, one was a huge apartment building on Houston Street in Manhattan, which, if you know Manhattan, it's a very nice street, and it had one of the most famous restaurants in the world downstairs, and I got to meet the family, and I got to do favors for them where they just loved me, and basically it was super eye-opening, because I saw how they built an absolute empire, and that's been really cool. So if you have questions, like, I'm happy to answer it. I think the problem for me is I don't really know where to begin explaining stuff, because I don't know where people's minds are, and I tend to be a little esoteric as well. That's a major personal weakness. But the knowledge is in here, so by all means, pick my brain. I'm happy to share it with you.